What's going on, YouTube? How y'all doing, family? How y'all doing? Why some people secretly want you to stay overweight? Y'all didn't know about that one, did you? You didn't think that that was going to be a topic, but it is, and let's jump into it. Why some people secretly want you to remain overweight? There's a variety of reasons, but the reasons that come to mind for me stems around control, stems around making them feel better about themselves. And it also comes from that complex of, hey, well, I'm not as bad off as this person, or this person is going to be super nice, they'll do it. So not case in point, because this shit ain't never happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other people. You know, sometimes when you have the overweight guy or the overweight gal in the workplace, you just view them like way differently, especially if they don't have any self-confidence, especially if they have no stilo about themselves. You just look at them like, okay, well, I'm running behind on this project. I know I can get Fat Man to work on it for me. All we got to do is just hang out once or twice and he'll feel a part of the crew and whatever. That's like some real high school shit, right? Whenever you see the fat kid eating by himself at lunch, but you need some help with math and you know he's like a fucking genius. So they befriend him, get what they need from him, make them feel okay, and then treat them like shit. It's like you see that in a lot of these movies and stuff. At least I did when I was coming up, right? But it happens in the workplace, and this is some real life shit for a lot of people. They just don't want to admit it because why admit something that's, hey, I got a sense of belonging. You know, these people like me. Granted, you know, I'm doing this for them, and you know, I have this, but they don't care. They just like that feeling of being wanted, being around a group of people and they're not by themselves. And I think it's fucked up, like I really do. But in real life, this shit happens, especially in the workplace. And these people that view these bigger people in the workplace like, okay, you know, Big John to help me with this, or Big Becky gonna do this, especially when it comes to the big ones that's real smart, like the fat fuckers that's real smart. It's like you already know that, oh man, they gonna do whatever just to come kick it with me, or they gonna do whatever just to be with the in crowd. So it's like, hey, you know, hey, Big Mike, man, you know, I'm a little behind on this. Would you mind staying later to do this? Well, I kind of got something. Well, I'd appreciate it. Well, okay. Those movies and shit, that's not like made up shit. That's some real life stuff that happens every day across the world. You know, people, smaller people preying on the bigger people because the bigger people want to belong, and the smaller people got the advantage socially. And whenever they do that shit, you know, I think it's a learning lesson, especially when these bigger people do get in shape and they realize like, dude, I'm not doing that shit no more. Fuck this guy. Fuck this chick. But you hate they go for the bait. They hang around them. You know, they go for a beer after work after doing somebody else's work that they not fucking getting paid for. It's like then they come hang out with these assholes and then they treat it like shit even more, you know? And it's just jokes. It's just jokes. Yeah, so why is your ass bigger than a hippopotamus? You know what I mean? Like that shit really do happen. And those people rely on people to stay overweight so they can use them, right? Because they know what you need. They know what you want. You want to be accepted. You don't want to be invisible. But if you don't want to be invisible and you want to be accepted, you have to put in that work and get your own validation. You got to put in that work, eat right, hit that gym. I can't stress that enough because that's the only way you're going to do it. I was I went to Aldi today to see my man Neil. And of course you run into people who you was cool with. Oh, Sean, you coming back? I was like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to do that. But when I worked there, it was a great time. You know, I always kept everybody motivated, and and I was a fat body back then, but I was an arrogant fat body. You know what I mean? I'm being honest. I was an arrogant fat body because I was touching real paper and I just didn't give a fuck, you know, but you know, that would be a little bit different now. But back then, I just didn't give a fuck. 300 plus pounds, I ain't give a shit. I wasn't finna do nobody else's work but mine. I barely wanted to do the work I had to fucking do. You know what I mean? But I did it. And, you know, that workplace shit didn't work on me. Nah, dog, I'm good. Because I already knew what you could and can't do and what you can and can't do. But, you know, I would come back and I saw some of the people that's still there and shit. And it's like, damn, man, I can't believe, you know, you did this. Like, what made you do this? Motherfucker, did you see how I look? That motherfucker was cooked. You know what I mean? And I was being real with them. I mean, they started laughing. I don't give a fuck. But it's like, hey, man, that motherfucker was cooked. Like, it's one thing to you know, be cooked and have money, but I'd rather be uncooked, be normal, and just cool in the motherfucker and just get play for existing. You know what I mean? Like, back then, if I wanted to be noticed, you gotta go talk, you gotta go say some shit. I ain't gotta do none of that shit no more because I ain't even looking for it. That's what make me, I guess, an asshole in a sense. Because I'll look dead at you in your fucking face and not say shit. But you'll wonder, oh, who is this guy? He's mysterious. What's your name? My name is Amber. I know your name is Amber. Well, how do you know? Because it's on your fucking name tag. But my name is Sean. Nice to meet you. You ain't going about your business. Oh, is that your daughter? She's gorgeous. I'm like, yeah, she looks just like her mother. Oh, well, that's your son. Like, well, he looked just like me. I mean, I'm just an older version, but I mean, he the YN. He coming up. Well, he ain't the YN, but I'm saying he coming up, and you know, he gonna be hell on. You know, he gonna touch down to cause hell when he get it right. So I think it's always funny that these things happen because then the stupid questions start coming. You know, well, how did all these people know you? Well, I used to work here, and I did a lot for these folks, and they did a lot for me in return. Oh, okay, well, what did you take? What? What did you take? I was like, oh, what you mean what I took? I was like, oh shit, I took a bunch of money from customers because like I was good at, you know, talking to people and shit. That's like, no, what'd you take to get in such good shape? I was like, oh, you mean the what I did? She was like, yeah. I said, oh, I fucking ate right. And I went to the gym. And I got my big ass up out of bed when I didn't want to. Oh, and guess what else I did? I said no to eating goofy shit. And she had like 2 things of Starbucks on her desk and some McDonald's. I was like, come on, man. Like, for real? And my boy Omar, he just laughed. He was like, God, this dude's still crazy. And I'm not crazy. I'm a little more direct these days. But like I wasn't direct back then, but this is just a little more different now. But it was a good time seeing them. But I personally still get offended when motherfuckers say, oh, what you take? I didn't take anything. And we talked about it. Me and Tracy Crawford, that's an old player right there. That man been selling cars. That dude to get out of school just to go to the car dealership and sell cars. That's how dedicated he is to Audi and doing this shit. But I love him to death, great guy. And he just straight up told me, he was like, bro, it took some real dedication for you to do that. I was like, look, let me tell you like this, dog. And I'm gonna be 100% real. I let go a lot of my ego. What I didn't let go was common fucking sense. He said, what you mean, big dog? I was like, well, let's be real. I couldn't be going through what I'm going through now and I was still severely overweight. Like, it would just be a recipe for disaster. So, you know, I really do think God had something planned for me. And I'm just starting to walk into it, right? And that's cool. That's my belief. That's what I believe in. But then I joked about it. But on some real shit, I was like, my guy, but whenever you end in a relationship or coming out of some shit, I can't be down 2 to 0. They was like, what you mean down 2 to 0? I was like, motherfucker, you can't be fat, ugly, or broke when you going through that shit and you got to come out on the other end. I was like, because that's what most women expect. You know, they expect the man to fall apart whenever his identity is tied up into being that man for his family, for his people. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what we do as men. We get caught up in that. So when all of that is stripped away, what we do? We crash out. We start drinking. We start eating a lot. We start doing a bunch of dumb shit instead of doing the elevating part. Honestly, I don't know why, but I think that was my calling to go ahead and get into fitness and really just take care of myself and try to help others, because even though life can be difficult in that area sometimes, I mean, it's going to be what it is, because I won't be down 2 to 0. For one, I'm not ugly. And then I'm in probably the best shape of my life I've ever been in. And I ain't going to be broke either. So I refuse to let that shit happen. Like, look, I'm all about fairness and equality. But, hey, man, like I said yesterday, I don't feel like the man should have to start completely over because you get a red hair up your ass and you want to bounce. Fuck all of that shit. Y'all seen Django? I'm that nigga. I'm that one. I'm not about to let that shit go down. So, hey, man, that's just what it is. What about the kids? Fuck them kids, bro. I'm not the one doing this. You are. So, hey, I'm just kidding. I love them kids, man. And I bring a lot of comedy and humor because I was always told laughter is God's hand on a troubled world. And we do live in a troubled world. So anytime I can make a joke out of something, anytime I can find the humor in making myself smile or somebody else, I think I did a good job for the day. Because, guys, I know I come down on you about being a fat motherfucker and all this other shit, but I know how hard it is to be in that body. I know how it is to wake up and think that, you know, I'm not shit. You know, I'm just good at these few things. I know how it feels to not feel desirable. I know how it feels to, you know, just rag on the fact that, yeah, I am educated. Yeah, I do got a bunch of money. You know, that's not enough. And to be honest with you, the right people in your life don't give a fuck about none of that. And it took me some time to realize that. You know, I was just sitting here slick competing with myself because my older brother Reese, he stopped competing a long time ago. You know, he went and joined the army, so I went and joined the army. He went and got a bunch of school. I went and got a bunch of school. He had to get a house. I had to get a bigger house. He had these fast cars. I had to get multiple fast cars. You know what I mean? And to me, I always thought it was healthy because it kept us going. It kept us going, striving for better. But I think he figured out the cheat code along the way, that it wasn't about the material shit. It was truly about what made him happy in the inside. And that was his wife and his kid, you know? It took me a little bit while to maturize and understand that, because once again, I was still competing and I didn't even know I was competing by myself. I should have picked up on it when he was like, oh man, that's good, bro. But that wasn't the response before. Like, bro, I just got this Hellcat. Oh, that's good, bro. Okay. Well, damn, I just got this GT 500 Shelby. Oh man, that's good, bro. All right, bet. Well, I got this ZL1 Camaro. Oh man, that's good, bro. He stopped competing. His priorities shifted to his family and how he could set them up for the future. And mine wasn't there. But he never was one of the ones who wanted me to stay overweight. He never told me I was a fat fucker neither, though. You know what I mean? Like, he never just set out and said it because he had seen me so much. You know, you used to me looking a certain way. But then when I moved to Texas, it's like, then I feel like he saw it and could have said something. But I'm not going to put that accountability on him. That was my issue. That was my fault. I should have stepped away from the plate. I should have put the fucking fork down. But I was too lazy. Another reason why people also secretly want you to stay overweight is because, especially in the relationship dynamic, fellas, don't think for one fucking second, ladies, don't think for one fucking second that if your guy or your girl is not deemed the most attractive one, they definitely got the upper hand and the power in the relationship, right? Because they know that they're the attractive one. They know that they can get anything or they can get anybody they want. So with you being with them, that's kind of like, oh, it's a privilege. You know, I get her or I get him, but you know, this is what I look like. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, but some people actually do that. Like, I was talking to Tony Drake. That's one of my old coaches, great guy. Still keep in touch with him to this day. We was talking about, yeah, man, when guys cross over in the body game, their wives end up enjoying it more, or at least they should. And he said, no, that's not always the case. I said, what you mean? He's like, well, the gym I go to, I see some of the most attractive women in the world, but their husbands look rough as shit. I was like, what you mean rough as shit? As in, like, they don't take care of themselves, they're not groomed? He was like, nah, bro, they fucking BCB. Busted can of fucking biscuits. I was like, oh, shit. He's like, but after speaking with them, they prefer it that way. Well, why do they prefer it that way? Because they like the fact that a lot of men will desire them, but they don't want other women desiring their men. I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. He's like, yeah, that's less competition for her if her husband is out of shape and not looking good, but yet she still wants him and she's still attracted to him. She don't have to worry about him getting at another woman because he's going to worship the ground that she walks on. See how fucked up that is? I'm not saying that's everybody's situation. I'm not saying that's, so fellas, don't go, if you a fat body right now and your wife a fucking 8 or 9, don't go over there and be like, hey, give me your phone, bitch. Let me see what you got going on. You know, wait, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm simply telling you that if she's truly happy with the way you look because of how you make her feel, do what you got to do, right? Because there are some women who will take that emotional support, that'll take that emotional safety, that'll take those small things over a motherfucker with the body of a god that's, you know, that could provide those things, but he's too focused on these shits. Because you got to think, guys, when you're on a health journey, when you're on a fitness transformation, when you're on the spiritual journey, it requires you to be selfish. Hands down. It requires you to put yourself above any and everything so that you can get in touch with yourself, find out who you are really meant to be, and then walk in that self while you're becoming that. You know, like I told y'all, I walk around like I'm already 10% body fat and just the baddest motherfucker that's that's ever walked the land. I'm already moving like that, just in a more quiet, humble way. I can tell myself that shit in my brain, but I'm not gonna sit here and walk up to a motherfucker, yeah, you got the pleasure of meeting me today. I mean, a lot of y'all who know me know I do some shit like that anyway, but it was just to be funny and just to break the ice, because I don't mind tense conversations and I don't mind tense moments, but I will say something to break that ice to where okay, he's a human. He can make me laugh. It's all good, right? But I would just simply say, if you're a woman or you're a man, it's okay with you looking like if you jumped, you'd get stuck in the air. Maybe they got their own personal reasons for that. I'm not necessarily saying this to control you or to make them feel like, okay, they'll never go nowhere. It could simply be because you provide those small things. But imagine how much better it would be if you were the best version of yourself, as the leanest version of yourself, right? Not a smaller bag of milk version, getting on Ozempic and losing weight real fast and your skin, just falling off your bone, looking like you well done and shit. Don't go that route. Just do it the low and slow route like you're supposed to. Just imagine, fellas, if you got to the best version of yourself as the leanest version of yourself, and you still provided that emotional safety, and you still provided that psychological safety for her, like, your relationship will go from 1,000 to 10,000, from 10,000 to 1,000,000, because not only did you get in touch with yourself, but you still was what you were for her, but better now, because you can give a different energy. You feel better about yourself. You look better. And whenever you can give her that, along with you pouring into yourself, man, I'm telling you, you would have the world in your fucking hands. And it's crazy for a guy like me to have to go through the shit I went through to realize this shit. I understand how important it is for a woman to feel emotionally safe now. I understand how important it is for a woman to be able to want to express herself without, the judgment, or without a recommendation on how to fix it, or you actually trying to fix it. Because as men, we are wired to want to fix shit. But if we wired to want to fix shit, why the fuck you not getting up off your ass to go eat right? Why can't you fix that problem? You know what I mean? Because we always put others above ourselves. I used to say, oh, that's just that nice guy shit. No, that's man shit. Because when we love people, we actually do more for them than we would ourselves. But we got to realize, you can't love somebody more than you love yourself, because you're giving that person too much power, right? And with them secretly wanting you to stay overweight, if that is that case for them, that puts you at a disadvantage. 100-fold, you lose every time. Amazon Prime, same day shipping. Here's your L. They delivered it to you on the dot. You know what I mean? So you have to really, really take a deep dive in yourself and figure it out. Like, if I can be this for somebody else, why can't I be this for me? And that's something that a lot of men battle. In another way, I feel that some people would be more comfortable with you being overweight is because now their flaws are not as highlighted as yours are visibly seen. That shit was deep. I'm gonna rewind just to write that shit down, because I gotta trademark that shit. But it's the truth. You know what I mean? It's the God's honest truth. Whenever you have a friend, and let's just say you got a friend that's in better shape than you, right? The jokes are gonna come, y'all gonna have a good time and shit, but he may be doing some fucked up shit behind closed doors. But hey, Sean a fat ass. You know what I mean? He's the fat ass of every joke. But when you start to take yourself serious, and it was okay when you just a fat dude, but when you become a fat bitch, that's when the switch flip. I got you, motherfucker, right? You can't even defend yourself because you don't have enough self-respect to say, yo, don't fucking talk to me like that. I wouldn't take you serious because you don't take yourself serious. You're fat. And your body says a lot about you before you can fucking open your mouth. I live it. Guys, I live it. I remember how I used to be treated when I was a big guy. I do. And now that I'm not a big guy, and I'm surrounded by big guys, the treatment is day and fucking night. Day and night. Me and my son talk about it the day in the grocery store up here, Brookshire's. And guys, I understand eating healthy is expensive. Man, I spent $300, down there, $15 on like 2.5 weeks worth of just, broccoli, chicken breast, salmon, goddamn honey, walnuts, strawberries, blueberries, Greek yogurt, and yeah, I think that's all I got. And I got it in a lot. And they spent all that money for that shit, but it's worth it, I promise you, because you feel good, you look good, you know, and this is a great feeling all around. And for my son to notice this shit, I was in line, never met this dude a day in my life. But when he said, damn, that's a lot of money, I was like, yeah, it is. I said, but it's worth it, you know. He was like, I don't see anything bad in there. I said, not, well, you won't with me, because, you know, I'm trying to get to a certain level. He said, well, damn, man, you already look great. What else you trying to do? I was like, you know, I got my little amount of imperfections and shit, but I'm working on it. And then, you know, we had like a 5-minute conversation. Turns out dude is a general contractor and asked me if I needed anything done to my house. He just let him know. We don't have that conversation if I'm 315 pounds. Because for one, I'm not going to have healthy food in my basket. And then we alluded to, they was like, damn, why is healthy food and stuff that's good for you so expensive? I said, guys, we're overpopulated. And it's easier to feed these fat fuckers all these issues because you fuel multiple industries. What you mean you fuel multiple industries? That don't make no sense. I said, yeah, because you dumb as fuck, right? Think about it. If people get real fat, they get unhealthy. Chances of cancer and all these other illnesses just they rise like a motherfucker. So now you're fueling the medical industry because they're gonna run tests, they're gonna do all this shit that's gonna cost money. Then you're gonna go to the pharmaceutical business because you're gonna have issues that they're gonna need to fix that's gonna offset it, then fuck up something else. So you feeding that industry. And then when all that shit fails and you still eating like shit because you don't want to get it together, now you fueling the food industry, i.e. the grocery stores and the fast food restaurants and the other restaurants. You still eating there and you not realizing, oh, this is healthy. No, it's not healthy because all that shit dropped them based on oils and fucking butters and stuff. Then you're not counting those calories because those calories are stink. They're not putting anything in the air fryer for you. That's why the best thing for you to do is eat at home. You eat at home, you control everything about what you eat and how much you eat. I got a food scale. I don't use olive oil, butter, none of that shit. I put everything in the damn, either the oven or the air fryer, and that's controlled 100% by me. I weigh it up. That's 1 gram over. Let's make some trim. You know, you have to find a way to do these things. So you fueling those two industries, and most importantly, when you eat all that shit and you get these high risk illnesses and stuff, and you can't beat it, you've already spent money on the food, you've already spent money on the medicine, and you've already spent money on the treatment. Now, what's the other business that you fueling? The fucking funeral business. And business is going to be booming because for one, they're going to charge your family a shit ton of money to bury your big ass. And then they're probably charging you more to cremate your big ass because you can't fit into the fucking crematory thing. Guys, we all got to go sometime and we got to go someday. We just don't know the rhyme, reason, or day or number. But I would rather live as long as possible in the best version of myself before I go, right? Versus, damn, Sean died because he had complications because of his weight. That would have been embarrassing as fuck, right? And I've had multiple fucking chances. The pulmonary embolism, those 2 pains in my chest that turned out to be like little minor like murmurs or possible heart attacks and shit. Yeah, I got reminded of that shit too. Because the lesson was it took a lot of bad shit to happen to me in order for me to learn. I don't want to be the one that's touching that hot stove no more. So I understand the importance now of being on top of my health and everything that goes along with that. And that comes along with those people that want to see you obese, those people that want to continue to see you overweight because it makes them feel better or because of what you do benefits them. You can't let those people win, and you don't let them win by getting in the best shape of your life. You don't let them win by going to that Calendly and booking a car with me, you know, and you know why you're there. You know what you want from me. I'll tell you how to get there because I lived it. I did it. I truly did. I've lived multiple lives in one fucking body. And I like this life better because I love waking up and going to the gym. That starts my day. And then knowing that I can control what I eat, that makes me feel like I'm in control of probably way more shit than I think I'm supposed to be. But I have that. And it helps me get through the day. Because if I can wake up and go to the gym, if I can still make this video, even though jet lag kicking my ass and I'm tired of shit, that's the level of discipline that I got. So that means I feel like I can do any fucking thing. I can. And there's, like I said, When my mind made up about something, this shit gonna happen because it ain't nothing stronger than a made up mind. You just got to put in your head that this is what I said I'm going to do, and I'm going to fucking do it. You know, don't let these people, and they're easy to spot. I shouldn't have to tell you how to spot them, but I am. Damn, man, why you eating like that? You got to live a little. Damn, bro, I ain't know you eating yard work now. Oh, man, you ain't going to last long. Oh, man, it's just one drink. Oh, man, you taking that shit too seriously, man. It ain't that deep. Those are the people, those are the comments you got to watch for. They're going to come from family. Because believe it or not, some of your family members don't want you to do as good as they are. Everybody wants you to do good until you're doing better than them. And those are the ones you got to watch out for, because those when the comments come. That's when the bullshit starts to popping up in your life, right? So your family going to hit you. Close friends or colleagues going to hit you. And it's all, look, go into the workplace and you will see so much shit that it's just like, damn, Sean was right. These motherfuckers are like that. Yes, they are. That's all the workplace is just one high school for grown-ass people who can't mind their business, who gonna start rumors, and they mad that they didn't get something that they want, so they're gonna try to fuck everybody else over. That's what it is. But like I said, be wary of those comments, because they're gonna come from the people closest to you. And if you're not prepared for it, you are intentionally fucking yourself. And at that point, I won't have any sympathy for you. It's one thing to be stabbed behind your back, right? But it's one thing to see a motherfucker holding a knife and still hug him so he can stab you anyway. What type of shit is that, right? You know the answer to the question. You just got to move accordingly and be careful with it, right? So those people that secretly want you to stay fat, you got to distance yourself from them, because they don't mean you no good, you know? And I said this in one of my videos like a month ago. I was like, if your wife or your girl telling you, oh, baby, you just fine the way you are, that motherfucker is lying. Some cases they not, but I still feel like at 99% of the cases they are. And you could test that shit by, oh, babe, who your celebrity crush? And if it's a motherfucker with abs, shoulders, traps, all this other shit, bro, she want that shit. She desires that. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings. Trust me, I know they don't want to hurt your feelings, because they know that, you know, you provide, you doing all these different things for her or whatever the case may be. But just ask who a celebrity crush is. And if she say a motherfucker like, oh, Tank, Christian Keys, you know, who else? Got Shamar Moore, you know, all them motherfuckers. My guy, they fawn over them because they got amazing fucking bodies. But what they got at home is somebody who ain't got that. It's easy for me to fawn over them because I never see them in my life. Yeah, okay. I mean, that briefs well, but fellas, if your girl or your wife or your significant other can fawn over that motherfucker on the TV, why don't you be that motherfucker at home? But the only difference is, instead of millions of people fawning over somebody who they see on TV, it's going to be local people that's going to be fawning over you that can reach out to you and actually touch you. And that's what's going to make her worry. Because especially if you didn't come into the game that way and you got on it, and you didn't do the reading, you didn't do the inner work, and you don't know how to control that shit, bro, then your table's gonna turn like, damn, what do you actually do for me that I can't get somewhere else from somebody that's better? You know what I mean? You question that shit and you question yourself because you didn't do the inner work, you know? So when you own this journey, doing the inner work is just as key as doing the outer work. As a matter of fact, I think it's more important than doing the outer work, because the outer work is gonna happen. All you need is time. Time and consistency is gonna happen. But that inner work, that's going to take some real identity shifting. It's going to take a lot of real movement in order for your body to catch up with your mind. And I still struggle with some of it. I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I'm still struggling with the fact that I look like this now, right? And when my son see women looking, like he told me that, Dad, she was staring and she was about to come say something to you. I was like, I don't pay her no mind. I don't. And people will be like, oh, man, you just glazing. Nah, motherfucker, I'm not glazing. That shit really did happen. You just never experienced it because you fat as fuck. And that's the truth, right? So until you get on this side, then you can fucking relate. I thought the same thing about Luther when he said the same shit. Like, man, you just glazing. That motherfucker wasn't glazing. For one, this motherfucker like 3% body fat. His ab, you could see the stratifications in each definition of his fucking abs. That's fucking crazy, right? But I thought he was bullshitting too, but he wasn't. He was not. People do treat him differently because he got that V-taper. I'm being treated differently now because I got that fucking V-taper. And I'm still tightening that shit up even more. You know what I mean? This shit is real. And it's a lot of room over here for you guys. It really is. You just got to get up off your ass and get out and get your dick out the dirt and come over here and get it. But we don't just accept everybody into this club. You got to read these books too. You know, you got to do the inner work. I'm telling you now, anybody apply to come work for me, you're going to be reading. We're going to talk about what you read, and we're going to talk about how you're going to implement it, because I had to do that shit to myself, but by myself. You know what? I learned this in that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. How do I incorporate this into my daily life? You know what I mean? That's what comes along with this game. You have to be selfish and take that time for yourself, because if you don't, you're going to become a madman. And when you become a madman, you're going to hurt people. And when you hurt people, hurt people hurt people. So you got to think about those things. And just be aware of those people who are trying to secretly who despise you making this change and who want you to stay overweight, because you benefit them more than you benefit yourself. That's it. Case closed. Let me keep you where you at so I can keep getting what I get out of you. You already got low self-esteem. You already can't say no. So let's keep taking advantage of it. That's how these are predators. That's how they think, right? They're thinking survival. They're thinking food chain. You're thinking, oh, I'm just being nice. My guy, it's going to fuck you over in the long run. You know, it's one thing between being a good person and being a nice guy. Be a good person. Hold your boundaries. Say no. But still do whatever you can to help somebody in need. Don't be the nice guy. Oh, yeah, I'll do this for you. And then you got some covert contract in your head. Oh, I did this for him, maybe. And then they're going to look out for me in the same way. And you fuck up by expecting you out of other people. That's one of the, I know Luther always say the biggest point of failure when it comes to the root of all suffering is desire. That is 100% correct. But I want to add to that, the biggest pain that we put ourselves through is expecting us and other people, right? I know Sean will do this for this person, but that person may not feel the same way to where they feel like they would do that shit for me. And that's when I started getting hurt the most, because like, damn, why would you do me like that when I did this for you? You know, a covert contract that this person never even knew that they was in. But I was expecting that because of what I did for them, not knowing that they were just a fucking taker and I was a giver. And givers have to put a limit on how much they give, because takers will never limit how much they take for somebody. Because nowadays, that's my mantra. You know what I mean? What's yours is what's yours. Wait, what's mine is mine, but what's yours is mine if I can take it. Mindset shift. I went from the prey to the predator. I went from the weak to the strong. I went from the asshole to the neutral asshole. And I'll explain what that means in another video. But it goes right in line with being a good person versus a nice guy, because it's the same field, but it's two different fucking people, guys. So when you're moving like how you're moving, you have to just be mindful of these comments of that's being said, because a lot of people do want you to stay where you are because they can get more out of you that way. You know, I can get a whole lot of shit at Mike at 320 pounds, fat coming over his shirt. Nobody want to talk to him. Ain't no girls gonna want to be with him. I can get a whole lot of that motherfucker. But you can't get a whole lot of Mike when he fucking 185, 190 lean. He walking around with a gallon of water every day. He don't give a fuck about what people say. He's sitting by himself during lunch, eating healthy food and reading. And he's journaling during lunch, right? That's the motherfucker that people don't want to fuck with, because he's already established his boundaries. Yeah, he could go out and eat and drink with y'all during lunch, but now he's bettering himself. He could be doing some of the shit that they doing, but now he ain't got time for that because he's on a mission. Self-respect. So because he respects himself so much, everybody else has no choice but to respect him too. And it's just literally in how he fucking move. And it's a beautiful thing to see, because I'm watching it, because I'm living it. I can see in 100,000 different ways how I get treated so much better. I ain't gonna go into all the details, but I can see it 150 times over, how this version of myself gets treated so much better than the older version of me. Don't get me wrong, in my head, the older version of me, that motherfucker was legendary. But in real life, he wasn't legendary. He was just a not a yes man. He was just a nice guy. Straight up. In the car business, they got this saying, if somebody say, oh man, he's a nice guy, he ain't good in sales. He ain't gonna be a good leader. Because, oh, he's just a nice guy, he's gonna people please. He's gonna find the path of least resistance. But as soon as you hear, man, that dude an asshole, those are the ones that's making general manager. Those are the ones that's moving up the ladder because they have boundaries and they stick to those boundaries. So I know this video went a little longer than what I would like to, but this one was a topic that I know nobody's talking about because it's one of those covert things to where it secretly happens, but we don't recognize it. I recognized it, so I wanted to speak on it and enlighten you guys with it. So with that being said, don't box yourself into that corner because everybody else feels comfortable with you being there. Step outside of that shit. Get in that calendar and book a call with me so you can get your shit together. Either way, I'm still going to go get fit and hit the gym. You either going to sit there and be fat, undesirable, nice guy, nice gal, doing everybody else's work so you can belong, and that's what you want, you can sit there and let me know who you are so I can take advantage of you too. Because if you giving the whole crew something, give me some too. Oh yeah, you doing this project? Hey man, hey, help me out with mine. And you letting everybody else do it. Help me out too. Or get on your shit, stand on your principles, and be like, I'm done. I'm done with that life. I'm done with being overweight. I'm done being looked at a certain way. I'm done being treated like shit. I'm done being invisible. I'm done not having confidence. I'm done, not being desired. Because when you are those things versus not, your life can be 1,000 times better. And you know what else make your life 1,000 times better? Not playing them fucking away games.